Well, good for you and good for you. But that's the only way you can learn. A lot of it is self-taught. He can show you, or I can show you, how to edit stuff. At the end of the day, if you don't practice, you can't do it. The same for a lot of other multimedia programs, be it Flash or be it slideshows. You need to practice. So to start off, do something that you like. Work on a story or do a podcast that you really enjoy, and then go from there. So what I'm going to show you is just some basic, very, very basic equipment that can actually make your audio production a lot better, right? These are getting cheaper and cheaper. Some of you I had met recently at Khalsa College, so you would have seen these because I showed you around. But for those of you, this is a very basic audio recorder, right? When I first bought it, I think I got it for about $300 US, but now I believe you can get it for $100 to $150 US, which is about 5,000 rupees, 6,000 rupees. You can get a relatively good audio program. Audio device. What it does is it records sound and audio files onto a compact flash drive. If you are photographers, some of you would have used this before, right? You just slot it in your camera. This one is a 1 GB capacity, so you can record audio up to 1 GB, which is a lot. If you're recording MP3, I believe you can record up to almost 5 hours on this. 5 hours of clear sound. If you're recording wave, I think you have a capacity of 1 hour, because wave files are more uncompressed. They're very clear, but they're not like MP3s where they've been folded multiple times and then the files are relatively small. So if you're really, really serious in doing good audio recording, I highly recommend that you get one of these. Maybe there might be some Indian brands, I don't know. They might be producing recorders that are even cheaper and more affordable than this. So you need one of these. You need a microphone. This one is a shotgun microphone, so this one is quite expensive. I bought this for also $300 US. But you can buy one, I think, for relatively cheap, 20 to 25 to maybe even $100 US. And it's maybe around the 4,000 rupee range. You can already get one. You can even get it, and if you don't want to buy one, you can easily rent one. There are a lot of stores, audio equipment stores in Delhi, that actually rents these devices. If you have this and this, the quality of the sound that you produce will be good enough for broadcast. Okay, but you have to make sure you have a really good microphone and a really good device. I'm going to let you hear a piece. No, actually, before we start that, I want you all to close your eyes. Oh, everybody close your eyes. No cheating. Close your eyes. Hey, close your eyes. Everybody close it. You're not closing your eyes. How are you? No, do it now. Because this is a little practice. Because I want you to hear what, I want you to tell me what you hear. So everybody close your eyes. Okay. Close your eyes. No cheating.
Okay.
Whatever that comes to your mind, just say it. I want to. What do you hear in this room?
Sound of this.
AC? It's very good. Okay. What else do you hear?
There's some sound coming from
Outside? Some sound coming from outside? You hear some whispering in that room? Right? You hear the clicking of a pen? You hear some people trying to breathe or swallow their saliva? I can hear Shadin's shoes.
Your noise is good.
My voice? Clearly. More pen sounds? So these are the things that you need to think about. You can open your eyes now. When you're recording audio, right? Even if you're doing a podcast and you're just using one of these little recorders that come with your headphones, you're going to pick all this sound up. So when you're recording just a basic podcast, your voice, you want to try and do it in a room that's quiet. It's quite hard in Delhi. I tell my editor I'm recording in a quiet room, and he asks me, are you recording in the middle of some street in Delhi? I said, no, it's quite noisy. And that makes it hard. But you need to find a quiet room, and preferably where there's a lot of things. See, there are a lot of things in this room, right? So there's no echo. If I were to try and record in maybe down over there in one of the halls down there, there's going to be a lot of echo. And when you record something, you can hear it. Like even now you can hear it. You want to try and record your audio in a room where there's curtains, where there's cushions, where there are books. Right? So this is very important because if you want to do something you produce something of good quality, you need to keep these in mind. And let's say I was recording an interview. I'm interviewing you. Let's say for a story, I'm going to take this and interview you. I'm going to turn off the AC. I'm going to try and interview you in the corner of the room, far away from these computers, because there's a sound. I mean, it's very faint, but sometimes you turn on your TV, you can hear that sound, no?
Yeah.
So I try to go away from that sound as much as possible. So let's say I had to record in this room. I'll say, sir, can you go with me to that corner of the room? And I'll record there. Why corners of the room and not in the middle of the room? Because when you're speaking, you're interviewing somebody in the middle of the room, the sound bounces. It bounces. But if you're recording in the corner, or where there's a wall at the back, then the sound doesn't bounce, right? It's going to go, when you interview somebody, it's going to go directly into the microphone, right? So, but try not the window because you'll get the sound from outside as well. So you need a recorder, you just plug it in. And it's always very important to wear headphones, so you can hear. When you put a set of headphones on, you can hear all these things even more. It's amplified, so you know for sure whether you're picking stuff up. So even though it looks a little weird, and you wouldn't normally go to somebody and say, "Hey, how are you doing?" You might be a little uncomfortable. So all you have to do is just make sure you put it on and try to make your subject as comfortable as possible before you start. Right? So okay, then start. And also, when you're recording sound using a microphone, you don't want to record like this. Sure, could you look this way? You don't want to record, it's okay, don't. And always hold the microphone. Don't let the other person hold it. Because you're controlling the interview. Because what if he puts it too close? Then there'll be distortion, it's too loud or anything. So I'm going to hold the mic. Since don't worry, let me hold it. Okay? Just you don't have to do any work. All you have to do is just make sure that the person that you're interviewing is really comfortable with it. Okay? So instead of putting the microphone like this, I'll put the microphone like this. Why? Like when I do audio recordings, I introduce myself. My name is Posi Teng for the Wall Street Journal. If I record it like this, my with Posi will be, I can hear that distortion. To eliminate that, if I say I'm Posi Teng, the Wall Street Journal, you won't have the sound, which distorts your sound quality. And there's something that I don't have with me, which it's really bad practice. I should have with me all the time. You know those phones that you have on your phone? You need to always have that. I'm being very bad in terms. I'm not showing you a good example of myself. I don't have one of those phones. But that cuts out so many random sounds that you don't want in your audio piece. I'm gonna let you hear my first radio story that I did when I was in school, in journalism school. And just listen to it and tell me what you hear, okay? I'll play half of the piece, I won't play the whole piece. Just let you hear. This story is about, let me give you a little introduction to this. This story is about Cambodian children, girls, growing up in America and, not really knowing much about their own culture. Because a lot of them were adopted by American parents because there was a lot of war and a lot of strife, a lot of killings during the Khmer Rouge regime in Cambodia. So they're growing up and they're losing their sense of self. So there's a Cambodian dance teacher who's trying to teach them traditional Cambodian dance. So they'll remember, what it is to be Cambodian. So this is a story that I did for Pacific Time and National Public Radio in the US. This is all when I was in school. So I can tell you for a fact, this is not hard to do. You just have to listen for things and capture good sound. So I'm going to let you listen to this.
When the Khmer Rouge took over Cambodia in 1975,
this is the top host.
it killed at least 2 million Cambodians. Among those targeted for death were classical dancers. The tradition was seen as too aristocratic. Those who managed to escape the country are trying to keep their art form alive and pass it on to a new generation. We met some of them at a Cambodian